All right, looks like we're live. Who all is in the house? Gotta scroll up to see. Looks like Unfinished Project was here first. That's a shocker. Auto Salvage Outlaws. Do we get rain days? Well, we do this week. By the way, Unfinished Project supplied me with all those cool old snake oil ads from the Popular Mechanics September 1946 edition. All those cool old things like Reclamo and Quick Seal and the Tornado for a cheap supercharger for your engine, and the mystery button for $1. I figure it's perfectly safe to lampoon that stuff. Those companies have been out of business longer than I've been alive. Unfinished Project says only 23 days until the No Name Nationals, 23 Saturdays. That would be correct. Cope says 904 King. Well, thank you, 727 King. NSB's on the road to Florida listening in. Glad to have you. Thinking about your Lenco Dart while on the road? I don't blame you. Buff is at the truck gathering in Oklahoma. That sounds like a bunch of fun, Buff. Heavens Mopars. Dust Devil Brian wants a Reclamo filter. I don't blame you. That looks like a pretty cool thing. I thought you had to have a rear main seal go bad to get that effect. I actually kind of had that going on the CRV for a while. The variable valve time and solenoid, the housing itself had a hairline crack. That was a hard oil leak to find. Driveway looks like the Exxon Valdez turned over on it. But I got it fixed. It's good now. Tony's Hot Rod Garage is here. Auto Salvage Outlaws. Indirect Connection. Driving and listening. Well, hello, Jason. PJ's Rusted and Busted Garage. Sneaked into the No Name 500 at 462 subs. Glad to have you. Very close to getting your 500. JB's Little Shop is here. Thumper. Pure Pontiac Garage. Colleen Tebow. Scarlet the Four-Eyed Cuda is here. Twisted Mopar Garage. Good progress, by the way, this week, Dennis. I saw you jumped up. You about 118. Think about it. You got your last 8. You went from 100 to 118 quicker, far quicker than you got. Those first 100 were coming in slow, and now you're jumping. So you can do it, man. Your train's just getting rolling. Hippie Miller, Slant Daily Garage. What's up, suckers? Oh, that's so shame. First responders says 21 people waiting. Gosh, I've just now cut up to before the live started. I like to take my time, though, greeting you guys because you're the reason that I do this. Cope is here, representing CRT colors. Coincidence today, but oh, I got something to show you guys. We'll put it up on phone so I don't forget it. He's welcome to do it himself, but one thing I don't want to do is wear Cope out on live. But I got something cool to show you guys. Let's see. Torque Racing Production. Mr. 1000 just hit his 1,000th subscriber last week, over the weekend. New Guy's Garage is here. Picking with Pickle. That's one of New Guy's Garage's friends, isn't it? And that's not what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that was one of his buddies. The Mofo Driver, how's it hanging? Speaking for himself. Good to see you, my man. Smoke Wrench Garage. I tell you what, the evening is not complete until we've seen an appearance by Smoke Wrench Garage. That is the username that when I see it come through, I'm like, all right, it is business time on a Friday now. We've got the oxyacetylene fired up. We're ready to get to work. Smoke Wrench Garage is here. LNA Auto Works. LP94, aka Lars. Greg McDonald is here. Bigfoots and Mopars, Steve Duncan. I have no idea, my man. Fab Race Mod Repeat. How's it going, sir? Junkyard D, Silver Kilgore. Yeah, Twisted Mopar's working on his volume noise thing. Good, cool. Sounds good. How you doing, Ron English? What we getting into tonight? Just a couple things. I mean, no real super agenda. I'm taking it a little easy this spring. I was actually sick as a dog all day Wednesday and most of yesterday. I don't know what I got, but it wasn't good. I was mowing Tuesday, shaking down my new to me Cub Cadet, and I got part of the way done. Still working on the deck tension. I said, well, I'll get it in the morning. Whoa, come morning, I was in no shape to mow. I didn't return any messages or anything on Wednesday. I was a mess. So I lost a day and a half this week to that. I've eaten one complete meal since Monday. Not that I'm missing any, but it's just not normal for me. Thumper's here. How's it going? Tony K. 38 POS Racing. You've been coming up too, man. Enjoying what you're doing. Looks like Landon's here. Dart Sport Brothers says Smoke Red Sean. Yes, sir. I think I saw Heaven's Mopars in here. Andrew Nelson's here. Good to see you, man. Thanks for stopping by, as always. All right. Looks like I'm caught up on the chat. Thank you guys for stopping in. So I got something cool to show you. And I got permission to show this. So this is prototype number 001 of something coming out of the Cope Racing Transmissions laboratory. Ooh. Who in the chat can tell what that is very specifically? Another angle. One more. Slant Daily, I wish. Billet Steel Front Planetary. As you know, it's not Photoshop, Dean. Cope's legit. This is from Cope Racing Transmissions. No, it's Billet Steel Front Planetary. You know, some of you guys probably know that the 727s, the Hemi 727s, have aluminum pinion carriers. Three pinion aluminum carrier planetaries in the Hemi cars. So this is going to be a good product. And you can see it's rollarized and everything. How cool is that? We had some great guesses in here, though. A wobbler bearing, interplanetary overdrive. Well, I mean, I guess it could kind of be an interplanetary overdrive if run the wrong way. It's an interplanetary underdrive. That it is. That could have been acceptable, and only Danny Boyd could pull off getting the correct answer that crazy. New Guys Garage says, I only Photoshop stuff. Not hardly. That is one perk I have about doing what I do. I get all kinds of memes. You wouldn't believe all the stuff people send me. I can't post 90% of the stuff I'm sent. Potato processor, yeah, probably. If anyone needs Photoshop done, Dan at New Guy's Garage is the best. Yeah, he's good. He's good. Well, actually, speaking of that, well, I have something to show y'all. Speaking of photoshopping and New Guy's Garage, I should show you guys my contact picture for New Guy's Garage. Let's see if I can do this. Let's see if I can do this. There we go. Hello, Wendy. How you doing? Yes, Slant Daily. I'm assuming that's 727. I don't know that anything, because I mean 904s have steel planetaries from the factory. So I would assume that's 727. I didn't have anything to give it any scale, but it looks to be 727. PJ's, maybe you can cross that line tonight. PJ's is really close. PJ signed up at 462. PJ's really close. Rob's Rods and Streetcars is 440 last I looked. And Road Beer is about to cross 400. Slant Daily. You know what? I think I want to do a 518 for the van. It has a 999 in it now. And of course, I don't need to run that by any stretch, but I've never done a 518. So I'd like to. Need to do it. I want to do a 318 stroker with a 518. And I'm thinking that the deal for the rear end, because I want to use the same wheels it has now, is to use a 9 1/4 from a B200. Because you can use a 9 1/4 that has the 5 lug truck pattern, takes the same drive shaft, bolts right in. Because fun fact, an 8 1/4 and a 9 1/4 have exactly the same distance from the center of the yoke to the center of the axle, and yet they look nothing alike. The only two Mopar rears that'll interchange like that. PJ says, anything possible with a great group of guys? Yes. Yes. This is a wonderful community. And welcome. Slant Daily, gotta love it. You know, I was deciding, I was flipping through shirts today, and it was either going to be this or the Slant Daily shirt. So you missed it by a day, Shane. I have to wear my Slant Daily on alive. I really don't plan it out that way. It's a coincidence. In fact, the last 2 times I've had Cope on alive, it was complete coincidence. I was wearing a CRT shirt. I never even thought about it until later in the day. Oh gosh, I'm wearing the colors I didn't even mean to. And not the last time, but the time before Cope was on, we were doing a valve body giveaway. So I'm wearing the colors, promoting his valve body giveaway, and it was just coincidence. Yeah, I like wearing the shirts to different channels. I think it's cool. Such a fun community. GM like interchangeability. I don't know. I don't know enough about GM to really opine. It's pretty good though. I know that. Weird question here. 72 A body only sparks when ignition coming back to run from crank. Only sparks when coming back to run from crank? It almost sounds like the opposite of a ballast resistor. We got a smart crew here. Only sparks when ignition comes back to run from crank. So no crank during spark. That's wild. Slant Daily, I'll get you another. No, I have your shirt. Your shirt's downstairs. It's my clean laundry. I just was flipping through. I'm gonna do something colorful. I'll do Copes today. I do like the shirt though. It's got your style. What can I say? And thank you for the super chat. I do appreciate that. You're very generous. I appreciate that. Exactly. Does not make spark when cranking. You got any guesses on that, Professor P? 72 GM does not make spark when cranking, has spark as soon as he comes back to run from crank. Greg McDonald says the only difference between a 727 is a question, by the way. The difference between a 727 and a 518 is the main shaft and torque converter. No, the case is different. The case is different, and of course you have the overdrive unit on the back on the 518. I wish the cases were interchanged. They do not. 38 POS Racing says someday I'll have shirts and stickers. Well, you know what? I understand. I don't ever say this to be mean. This right here came out of me saying that my calendar doesn't have one of these days on it. So I always tried to put a date on the calendar, no matter what it was, even if it was a year from now. I always put a date out there. Because putting a date out there, once your dream has an action plan and a time frame, has a deadline, it becomes a goal. So what I would say is put a day on the calendar, even if it's December, whatever. Put a day on the calendar and work toward it. And just something I do, whatever it's worth. Ron English has got the No Name National shirt tonight. Well, cool. That's his autographed St. Jude shirt, I believe. Colleen Tebow is saying bad ignition switch. Twisted Mopar Garage is saying hook two wires together to get it to run. Danny Boyd is saying maybe ignition switch. That actually does sound quite plausible, but like Motel 6, keeps the lights on. Right you are, Slant Daily. There was a Motel 6 used to be in Williamsburg, Virginia, closer to the East Coast out here, and they raised it to the ground. Last time I was out there, I noticed they had leveled it. There's nothing but a lot there now. And I looked at that, and I'm like, well, they're not keeping the light on for you anymore. Thumper says, does the GM have HEI on it now? He's asking the question. Dutch guys is saying he's installing green bearings on 2 8 3/4 tonight. Found 3 bad axle studs already. Whoa. Parts store kids are useless. That is my experience. That is my experience. I mean, I get it, and I see where labor has gone and the parts store industry and all of that stuff, and, pressed for labor and all this. And, it used to be the people who worked at parts stores were like retired techs and that kind of thing, and just isn't the way anymore. So we do the best we can. Slant Daily's asking if it's an HEI distributor. This chat is going to help you figure this out, Big Red Channel 20. Tried jumping positive direct to the coil, no change. Road Beer says wrong wire to the HEI. Make sure the wire to the HEI is hot when cranking. This is interesting. I'm liking this. We got a lot of talent in this community. They're going to figure this out. All right. 38 POS Racing says September 2024. I would like your 11th sticker, please. Your 11th sticker. because this is NSB's 11th sticker right here. I would like 11th shirt. Okay, Big Grid Channel 20 says it's a 72 Demon. I thought you said it was a GM with a Mopar drop-in electronic ignition. Colleen, I'm always passively looking for a 518. I'm looking for an 89 to 94, the last years of the 46RH. Chris Greenaway, favorite compound and polish combo. I have no idea. I am so not a paint job guy. Last I ever used any of that stuff was old number 7. Okay, Ron English is not the St. Jude shirt. He broke out the No Name National shirt. All right, cool. Greg McDonald's has put a points distributor in. Oh, goodness. Need to catch up. I get behind a little bit when I hold a comment or up to look, and I forget to scroll back to the bottom. Buck Does It has entered the chat. That means our collective IQ and work ethic has just gone up because Buck is here. Most of the old parts and Russ Patrick, how's it going? All right, chatter within. Big Red Channel 20 says voltage at coil is 5 key and on 9 to 10 when cranking. I don't know what is 5 key and 9 to 10. 9 to 10 when cranking is normal because it pulls down when you crank. The Mr. Buck, indeed. Buck, I've been enjoying watching you put that cow in the Barracuda. That is really cool. I hope I know where we see that car next year. Oh boy, Patrick's working on a surprise for 2023. If Patrick's working on a surprise, it's probably going to result in broken parts. But that's going to be part of the thrill. Colleen, what I really need to find is a long wheelbase 89 to 94 van. And I just need to get the transmission, drive shaft, and axle out of it. A 200, a 5-lug 200 with a 9 1/4 rear. Because if I did that, it would have everything I need, including the rear springs. It would have everything I need. I want to make the van a tow rig. Oh man, 38 POS Racing says I'm about 2 hours from running the Corvair. That is exciting. That's a cool project. For those of you who don't know, 38 POS Racing has an engine swap going on a Corvair, and it is cool. You guys need to check it out if you haven't. Mofo Driver has subscribed to every channel on the No Name Nationals list. What he's talking about is on my homepage for YouTube, I have a listing in order of subs of every No Name 500 channel. That is not a list of everybody attending the No Name Nationals, but it is a list of everybody in the No Name 500. And so people who still need subs to participate are listed there. Mofo Driver says, I need subs if anyone wants to. Mofo Driver, are you going to register for the No Name 500? I mean, I'm subscribed to you. You earned my sub a long time ago. I'm just curious. Anything you need off a 96 van? Well, I think the 96 has the electronic, has the RE transmission. And I'm looking to do the hydraulic. Although that said, if Copa is listening, he could opine whether or not that would work. I believe he's the one who told me I needed 89 to 94. That said, I think I know where 98% of the 518 cores on Earth are. Understood, Mofo Driver. Okay, that's cool. I understand. I just wasn't sure if you were thinking about it or not. I didn't know what the situation was, but that said, you earned my sub a long time ago. Unfinished Project's going to be your 500th. I would. You never want to bet against Unfinished Project. He has the ability to be there. He's amazing like that. Yeah, regardless, I'll be running a cope valve body in it. But Rapid Transit Garage is in here. Good to see you. Doug Narden got in here. Anything else going on good in the ongoing world of YouTube? I got to say, the month of April, for me, just hasn't been very fun. January, February, March were a whole lot more fun. April has not been very fun. Hopefully May will be fun again. Hopefully the rest of April will be fun. Unfinished Project is a ninja. Yes, he is. Irish Outlaw Garage figured out a tractor is great for body work. Yes, he did. Irish Outlaw Garage is going to patent the tractor porta power. Colleen says, rain, and more rain here. Yeah, it was right pouring rain hard this morning. I think that's all we do in the spring is just mow between rains. I think that's all we do. Talking about Volkswagen Touaregs in the chat, I would not own anything like that. I would not own anything like that. Volkswagen air-cooled is all great. All of it. Any of it is great. The only other Volkswagen I could even entertain owning would be back when fuel got so crazy high before. And it didn't get as high as it did this last time, but it was still really high. I considered finding one of the old Volkswagen Rabbit pickups and making a greasel out of it, getting the diesel 4-cylinder and making it run off vegetable oil. Slant Daily said a Slant 6 car showed up yesterday. He's building a Slant 6. I know that car. Road Beer says his brother loves the TDIs. Yeah, more power to you. That's great. Just not my bag. All of that modern stuff is just stuff to go bad. I've driven a rabbit truck diesel like that. I used to work for a guy that had one. His was an 80 model, 5-speed, had a diesel 4-cylinder. I thought they were cool. They just made a lot of sense. Good little utility vehicle, great fuel mileage. Mopars, Mustangs, and minivans has entered the chat. Looks like PJ's rusted and busted garage is $494. So I guess he'll get over tonight. Or close to it. Mohawk 62 is here. Boy, he's been cruising. What I notice typically is I notice when people gain subs because I tally the subs every other day. I send a note to Dallas to let him know just kind of where the standings are, and he notes. I do this. I send the same note to Buck does it because he does the channel reviews on Saturdays. What I really notice is when somebody leapfrogs, and Mohawk leapfrogged another channel in the standings, so he is on the move. But I'll tell you, it's day 160 to go. So think about 160 to go, which means if you have 340 subs remaining, if you have 160 subs, you have 340 subs remaining. You don't have but you got to get over 2 subs a day on average. That's what it's going to take, averaging 2 a day from here out. And I mean, I want to help every one of you guys. If ever you want to, just shoot me an email. Tell me if you want. I'm glad to help you put a plan together to try to get subs. We host content creator workshops. We want everyone to make it. There's plenty of time, but we just want everybody to make it. But when we see somebody, grinding it out, those are the ones we try. But reach out. Please reach out. You can leave a comment under Buck's videos. That's what he's recommended as a good way to reach out to Buck. Barrows is offered. I'm offering too. My email's in my channel description, john@PrincetonDragway.com. Send me a message. I'm glad to help. All of you can do it. There is time for all of you. But we are 105 days fewer than when we started. That time is spent. It is burned. It's not coming back. And if you want to add approximately 365 to this, that'll tell you what you have for next year. But let's not talk about next year. Let's make this year happen. It only takes one good video to make it fast. That's true. But you also can make it off of a whole bunch of bad ones. I know for a fact that you can make 500 terrible videos and get 300 subscribers out of it. So it can be, you don't have to have good content. Mopars, Mustangs, and minivans is at 496. Wow, man, you have 4 to go. You're about to creep right past it. Spencer's food reviews. Now, Spencer, how many subs do you have? Thumper made 500 with bad content. Thumper sells himself short. He's actually a really smart guy. And something I'll plug. Normally, I would never suggest anybody subject themselves to my lives, especially on replay. But it is worth watching the one where I had Thumper on to give us a class on ethanol fuel. It is a fascinating live. It's worth going back to watch. Spencer has 1,674 subs. Spencer, tell them what you make content on. Tell them in just a couple sentences what you make content on and how you got 1,674 subscribers in the last few months, since last year. New Guy's Guitar, how's it going? Yes, Spencer does chugging videos and drink reviews. Spencer has gotten 1,674 subs chugging Mountain Dew. I'm really not kidding. Go over and look at his channel. He proves a point. What can I say? Danny boy, I don't care what Cabral's going to do. I'm just telling you. Cabral. What about the people that hang out over there and support channels that are built around hating others and people go support them? So that just to me is I guess everybody has a different standard of what they consider to be good. Mopar Jeff 604, what's up? Indirect Connection, just in case somebody is not yet up to speed, Indirect Connection is Jason Falk, and he is the other half of the Rapid Transit Garage duo. So just so you'll know that is Jay's friend Jason there of Rapid Transit Garage. Danny Boyd says, I've lurked but never commented or liked. Let me tell you, I lurked on one last week, but this week, same channel just trashed me for an hour like they usually do. I can't believe how many people just sit there and support it. To me, that is, I don't know. I don't know what to think about that. I mean, I'd sure never sit and support a live trashing you guys. I know that. I think too much of you for that. Mopar Jeff is working on a 63 Belvedere. Cool. Oh, those are good looking cars. That's one of those styles that kind of had to grow on me because I remember when I was a kid, I used to think these early 60s Plymouths and Chryslers like, oh man, it's kind of gaudy. But now the gaudiness reminds me of an era where the stuff they don't make, all that chrome and styling, they just don't. Mofo Driver, No Time for Hate. Some people, that's all the time that they plan their life around it. It's amazing to me. I wouldn't want to cheat myself out of it. I mean, we only get so much time, right? Mopar just Bigfoot's car. Oh yeah, that's right. You're working on that that new Belvedere that Bigfoot Mark has. JB sitting in the back stalking. Glad you're here. Fox Can Fix It Garage. Hey everybody, glad you're here. Well, Twisted Mopart's the way it is. But I speak about it sometimes because, we tend sometimes, and I don't know why, but sometimes we start getting treated like public figures instead of real human beings. And I would dare to say that I probably have an actual real relationship with a bigger percentage of my subscribers than any other channel with as many subs as I do. I bet you I know more of my subscribers, a bigger percentage than any channel with 2,400 subs. So I don't live like a public figure who just treats it like a business, and I just don't. So to me, I don't care for that. But that's because I don't treat you guys like disembodied fans. I treat you like the people that you are, and that's what the No Name Nationals is all about. It is the everyman event. It's the only national event where you can watch in the stands one year and the next year be racing on that track. And so to me, that's different. So New Guy's Guitar says pretty good having a Dr. Pepper. Well, I have my Diet Dr. Pepper. Regular Dr. Pepper is too sweet to me. Raining Slant 6 with a chance of cannonballs, one of my favorite usernames. Raining Slant 6 with a chance of cannonballs. That is the greatest name. That one, Raining Slant 6 with a chance of cannonballs, Smoke Wrench Garage, and Max Wedge Dick Dastardly are three of my favorite usernames on YouTube. Auto Salvage Outlaws, it gets me if you take extra time away from your channel to help someone, then get it in the back. I'm telling you what. I won't even go there. Ron English, I appreciate you. Doug Narden says, I can't almost tell the difference. I don't know. I don't drink regular Dr. Pepper. Something Something Garage is awesome. I agree with that. I like that name, Something Something Garage. And usually when I say it, he appears. Like Alex will be in here within 2 minutes. You say his channel name and it sort of summons him somehow. Dizzy Izzy must be in here. I didn't see him go by, but I see people commenting to him. Fresh off of his Eastern road trip. Jerry Racing. Jerry, I saw that video Ed did on the crank. You got it back yet? I saw Ed did a run out check on it. Hey, Jerry Racing, how is the poll going? Ricky, do you have a poll on your channel? Let me know. Let's promote it. PJ's about to hit 500. All right, where is PJ? Shipped out yesterday. All right, man. Picking with Pickle. 4 more subscribers for me and I can go live. Fox Can Fix It says pre-YouTube, the Army would name their tank barrels Peace Pipe, New Testament, Boomstick. Some of his favorites. I can see that. He had a poll to see who's more excited to see the Fiesta or Duster get down the track. Twisted Mopar Garage, I don't drink. Twisted Mopar Garage, I don't either. LNA Auto Works, I do that on occasion, but everybody's got a different format. There's all kinds of lives that have the Brady Bunch type of setup, and that's fine. But I try to do a little bit more structure when I have guests and stuff. Everybody has their own thing, and there's a live every night of the week. There's pretty much a live every night of the week now that has all kinds of guests and stuff. So I've been doing a different format since long before that, and I kind of stick to it. I did offer Cope on to talk about this, and since we're now 45 past the hour, I'll mention this again for those who were not in here. Cope Racing Transmissions has some really cool stuff. This prototype #1 front planetary for 727 billet steel rollerized. This is the prototype. Should be a CRT part number soon enough. Exciting stuff coming out of Lowell, Indiana, as always. Yeah, L&A, you never know. I do have surprises from time to time. What's up, Street Fox Mike? I've been playing phone tag with Street Fox for about 3 days. I was sick as a dog Wednesday, so I just couldn't function. But Mike, I'll get with you. Every transmission shops have different things that others don't have. Each of them have different things others don't have. Some of them have things each of them have. Rating slant 6 with a chance of cannonballs. Near the end, and by the way, Big Richard's World, good to see you, buddy. Near the end of one of your last lives with Coach, you asked me how I came up with the moniker. I started to explain it, but it was real close to when you signed off. Wondering if you read it. I was just thinking that. I was just thinking that very thing. If you'd like to repost it, I would like to read it. Big Richard, it's good to see you, my man. Yeah, it's fun. We got lots of old friends and new friends and everything coming in here. It's cool. Dizzy's telling me he'd take a motor mount off and the bracket off, put a freeze plug in. Sometimes you got to pull the engine, so at least it wasn't one of those. Doug Narden is saving up for a 727. Cool. Well, very good to see you, Richard. PJ's Rusted and Busted Garage is at $496. Check out his stuff. I checked him out when he just registered here a few days ago. He was at $462. So check out PJ's Rusted and Busted Garage, and if he earns your sub, subscribe. Check him out. Yeah, Big Richard's World. Tell us how Betty White is. That's what we want to know. Once we know you're okay, now we got to know how your car is. Don't tease us, you man. Mofo Driver got 2 subs. Whoever they are, thank you. Cool, man. Cope Racing says Spuds. New Guys Guitars got 155 currently, had 158 the other day. Welcome to YouTube. At least you didn't make a video complaining about how unfair YouTube is because you went down 3, not realizing that every other channel has this happen. Every other channel. We actually saw a channel do that a week or so ago. Richard says that Betty is slow but making progress. Outstanding. Cool. Very cool. Unfinished Project says, to the person having the spark issue earlier, I had an intermittent spark problem that turned out to be the pickup coil in the distributor. Rabbit Transit Garage says that PJ's Rusted and Busted Garage is at $499. So as you guys are so great to do, should PJ get to 500, please send me a screenshot of that because I can't check it till after the live. And the YouTube gremlins may knock him down a few and do that, whatever that supposed audit thing they do is. So yeah, you unfinished project, you're 500. You don't mind, send me that screenshot. I would appreciate it. I'm sure you were 500 unfinished project. I knew you would be 500 when he registered. You probably knew you would be 500 before he registered. No, Danny boy, you won't need a separate live, but he was really, really close. And we don't fault him for that. I mean, Daddy's Money Garage, they registered up in the fours, but they were, of course, a different scenario altogether anyway. Look at that. 4 people sent me screenshots. We're good. I'll leave you to alumni tonight. And 4 more people sent me screenshots. Cool. I'll check them here shortly. Thank you all. I appreciate y'all sending them. That PJ is in. That makes several channels have crossed finishing that line now. I think we're 9 or 10. Heavens Mopars let Unfinished Project have it. Unfinished Project's a sniper. I see Andy Wood is in the house. Good to see you, buddy. Andy, let me know when you want to get together on those carburetors. Just holler. Just let me know. Big Richard says, A Cove, just have to do the hot side for the turbo and some finish work on the dash. Should fire by June. That is exciting. Yeah, JB's going to find Unfinished Project this year. He's on a mission. We appreciate you, Andy. Looking forward to racing with you and having some fun this year. Copperhead Customs. He just subbed, mate. Dizzy says he's got the best picture from the No Name Nationals last year. You may. There's some good ones of Dizzy Izzy doing his thing. I know that. Richard's saying 1,100 horsepower in the forecast. Well, let me tell you, Big Richard can make that happen. So Raining Slant 6 with a chance of Cannonball says he trademarked Cannonball Baker, gotten from his early racing days, racing bicycles, and switched to motorcycles in time to race at Indianapolis before it was the Brickyard. Is there a part A to that? Because if there was, I didn't see it on StreamYard. There it was. I was making a tribute to Cannonball Baker, who was an amazing dude who started in vaudeville, where he learned showmanship. That was Cannonball Baker. Okay. He trademarked Cannonball Baker. He'd gotten from his early racing days, racing bicycles, then switched to motorcycles to race at Indianapolis before it was Brickyard. Well, that is very cool. Yeah, JB, if you try to find Unfinished Project, he'll be the one in the red hat and a 220 Automotive Restorations t-shirt. Sounds about right. Yeah, constantly gain 5, lose 20 roller coaster. Well, the rule is when you cross 500, unless there's some kind of ridiculous fraud at play, you cross 500, you're in. So when the whole YouTube does its thing of taking them away and trickling them back, that doesn't matter. So when you get 500, you got 500. I just need to get a screenshot so that, let's say that YouTube does its thing to you and messes with you for a really long time. That would be torturous. You just, for my records, I just get the screenshot. You're in the alumni. You're good to go. That said, everyone who's gotten 500 is above 500 right now. Tony's Hot Rod Garage dipped below 500 for a little while and came back. But everybody who's gotten 500 has over 500 now, so it's not a thing. Yeah, auto salvage. That's the key. Although it depends what you're going to run. I'm not telling you what level of safety you need, but you are not required to have a Snell helmet unless you're going 764 or quicker. So you actually will probably be just fine running a DOT helmet. Big Richard said most are going to hate me because it's an LS platform and a 78 Dodge Aspen wagon. Nah, they won't hate you for it. You'll get some ribbon, but it'll all be good. Fox Can Fix It said that's the most fair policy you could possibly have. That's why this works. Well, thank you for saying I do something fairly. I appreciate that. Unfinished Project said he drives a Ford, so he'll be fine. Yeah, PJ's got it. He's in. Chris 103 Customs is in, but he had his subs before registering. Don't forget the No Name 500 is just a small sliver of who all's registered for the No Name Nationals. There's a whole lot more than that registered for the event. The established channels, of course, they don't get put on the screen for that because we focus our efforts on the people who still need subscribers. Ron English says it's a long time before Sykes can go get them subs. It is a long time. It's 159 days, 3 hours and 2 minutes is how long it is. Work on them yesterday. Every day that you do not make efforts to get subs means it's a little bit more sub per day you must have from that point forward to get them. The people who I always know are going to make it, no questions, are the ones out working in the snow when the season starts. Like, yep, they're definitely going to do it. Raining Slant 6 with a chance of Cannonball says the Cannonball name started when he was racing his motorcycles against locomotives, one of which was the Cannonball Express, before there were many dedicated motorcycle racetracks. That's really cool. Yeah, Walmart has DOT motorcycle helmets for $80. Yeah, you could. You also might get a good deal on a used Snell. Has to be 2015 or newer Snell, I believe. I'm going from memory. If you want official tech advice, you can go to the live stream where Dallas and I were on, and we had Deke Denny, the AHRA tech director. That is an official source for information. If you have anything specific, you can email me, john@princetondragway.com, and I will get it to the proper person. Passing tech and safety questions, I'll get to Deke Denny. Rule book questions in general, go to Dallas. Unless it's something I know without any question, I'll answer it. If it's a No Name Nationals admin type question, that's me. So between the three of us, that question goes to the appropriate person for an answer. Yes, you do have to get a helmet, Jay, because we're going to enforce helmets this year. Helmets and belts were two things we're going to tighten up on this year. No pun intended. Mofo Driver says, thanks to all who've subbed. I appreciate every single one. I've watched a channel here in the last week saying people are watching, but you're not subscribing, like there's something wrong with them. I'm like, man, appreciate everybody who watches your stuff. I'm honored when somebody wants to subscribe. I certainly don't feel entitled to subscribers. Jay, I did not see your question. No, this is a one-off sign right here. It's just a one-off sign. The thing is stuff like that. I mean, I don't know what people would want to pay for something. Some of this stuff's not cheap. But the thing is, when I took the sign shop, a $5,000 sign order actually wound up being a grand total of $6,300 was the signage for last year. So when you take them that, they usually work with you when you just want something like this for your studio. I welded my frame from 163 to 122. Is that okay? Do you mean you shortened the? Do you mean that you shortened the wheelbase? Is that what you're saying? Well, Rabbit Transit. This wasn't $6,300. That would make me clinically insane. But no, the signage for the event. Well, that's what it wound up being. Fox can fix it as a person who has a lot of subscribers. Is getting subscribers is a crapshoot. Making shorts helps visibility a lot. Keep them simple, under 30 seconds. Make a lot of them. There's a lot of truth to that. Rabbit Transit still pricey. Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, there's nothing cheap anymore. Signage is expensive. And I am now out of the No Name Nationals window decals, so got more checks to write, I reckon. Auto Salvage Outlaw says I need a 440 with a blower on it to go in the T-Bird. Oh, speaking of that, speaking of T-Birds and 440s, I saw this gem of a comment from Colleen yesterday. Apparently, she found some guy on Facebook Marketplace who had a camshaft for sale that he says it fits an FE Ford and a 440 Mopar. It's the same cam. And she asked him for clarification, and he reiterated. I thought maybe we were mistaken that he actually made that claim. Maybe it was a similar grind. No, he claims it's the same cam. Now, never mind that the bore centers are, much smaller on an FE. Never mind that the cam journals are much bigger on an FE, and the gear, I mean, the whole thing is different. But he said it's the same cam. We see some interesting stuff out there. I just couldn't resist sharing that, Colleen. That was. Do you think you've heard it all? Well, universal cams. I mean, there are some things. I mean, even when the bore spacing isn't exactly the same, that could be true. Like, for example, the hammerheads that Greg Brown makes will fit on both an LS and a Windsor block. There's 20 thousandths difference in the bore spacing. So you can do that. If your bore spacing was that little bit of difference, could you make a cam that universally fits? Sure. We're talking a big amount of bore spacing. We're talking about a bore spacing that's so different that the last journal on the cam would be hanging out of the block. Okay. And the journal is a quarter inch bigger on an FE. There's just on no planet is this a reality. He said it came out of a Dodge 360, but he had it in a 390 T-Bird, and it's the same cam that fits a 440 Mopar. There you go. Now, Colleen, is he claiming it was a Ford 360? Was it a Ford 360? That can be a different story. PJ's Rusted and Busted Garage. Get a hold of Irish Outlaw. Yeah. He knows some stuff. Thumper just had a guy come on his yard and tell him that his 70 GTO was a 76 Aspen. I remember after I got my first car, a 70 Dodge Dart Swinger, I had the neighbor who is not known for, being a Mensa member or anything. He walked over and asked, which is it, a Ford or a Chevy? Well, something says probably a 364. That's an FE. Yeah, that's plausible. But then how does he get that to be a 440 Mopar? And he wrote it several times. This was not a typo. He says, no, even the box says Mopar. Well, Colleen, I mean, we haven't measured this thing and taken micrometers to it, but it's one or the other. It's not both. Yeah, Andy says you can put a Cleveland intake on an FE with an adapter. Right. There are things like that are plausible, but I actually looked up the cam journals, the bore centers. No, that cam will not fit. JB's got to run, got a trans to tear down this evening. All right, man, good luck. You can do it, my man. Ford 360, the in-between FE. Yeah, that's a fair statement. When I think FE, I think of 352 and 390. 360 is kind of that weird one. I think an FE is 4.36 and a big block Mopar is 4.80. It wasn't even close. Not 4.36. 4.63 and 4.80. Colleen, I wouldn't give that guy a dime. But I wouldn't give him a dime. Let that be somebody else's problem. 332 Y block also, yes. First FE was 332. That sounds right. I'm not a Ford guy, but that does sound about right. I had a friend in high school who had a 52 Ford with a 352 in it. I thought that was interesting. Yeah, the FEs are crazy to me. There's a hardcore following of FE guys that can make those things fly. They're not my thing. The oiling system on them is all jacked up. But they have their fans, and I think it's great. So Professor P likes to kid me about keeping the lights on. Next time he says that, I'm going to do that next time he says that, if I remember. Danny Boyd, first car he rode in was a 64 Galaxy with a 352. Cool. Something garage is too expensive for him to build an FE. I get it. Everyone calls my Scamp a Dart. I get that. Yeah, but that's at least similar family there. Dust Devil Garage says you can get a race equipped Snell 2020 helmet from Jegs for $234.95. How much is your brain worth to you? Maybe not a great question to ask some of these people, but that's a very good point, Brian. And you should be able to get many years out of that because we're on 2015 now. So think about it. If we're on 2015 now in 2023, if you get a 2020 and let's say that you get 5 years out of it, 234, that's less than $50 a year. It's a good deal. Just Mopar Joe's is all right, Mopar people. See, we only get the first of Joe's 3-part greeting on here. You have to watch Joe's channel for the rest of his greeting. All right, Mopar people, welcome back to the channel. I'm just Mopar Joe. But see, you don't get that here. You get the preamble here. But you got to go watch Just Mopar Joe. $10,000 subscriber, Just Mopar Joe. He's got it going on over there. He's got some good stuff in the works. Always working on fun stuff. Got his engine in the Barracuda. I'm sure we're going to see some racing stuff. Good stuff over there. And I saw Kim sneak in there. How you doing, Kim? PJ's Rusted and Busted Garage says, my first car was a 70 Dodge Dart, gold with a green interior, slant 6, and a 3 on the tree. Yeehaw. I don't think I have ever seen a 70 Dart with a 3 on the tree. That is highly unusual. Never. Because the automatic became standard in 1970 and manual was a no-cost option. But even then, the floor shift didn't cost any more. I don't think in my entire life I've ever seen a 70 Dart with a 3 on the tree. That's a very uncommon car you had there, man. Wished I still had it. Yeah, there's a lot of people who say that. I don't blame you. Some folks just order column shift. Yeah, apparently, yeah, people could order stuff like that back then. Cars don't have anywhere near that much personality now. Cars today are transportation appliances. People would never think about such a thing. I remember when I was in auto trade school, my professor then, Ralph Papsadero, good teacher, learned a lot from him. He said that manual transmissions, these things are on their way out. They're going away. They'll be gone soon. He was right. We still had to learn to build them, but he was right. I'd love to have him on live. I've never asked him. He'd be a neat guest. Dart sat in the field for 5 years before I got it. My 70 Dart was sitting in a swampy area before I got it. I have my expired Snell 2010 helmet. I'll sell it for $25. Well, it won't pass tech at the No Name Nationals, but that said, that helmet still has plenty of use. I mean, and this is not any kind of legal or expert advice of any kind, but man, that would be a huge upgrade, I would think, over a DOT or a bicycle helmet or something. I mean, but we have the rules we have to go by, and we don't write them. The SFI does. Yeah, Twisted Mopar, we already addressed that one with Deke, and we're not going to be able to accept 2010 Snells for No Name Nationals. And I know we think about the logic of it and all of that. Don't ask me. I'm right there with you. Yes, Kim, they're going to check the dates on the helmets this year. You must have Snell 2015 or newer. If your vehicle runs 764 or quicker. If your vehicle runs 765 or slower, you can have either a Snell 2015 and newer or a DOT. And Deke is going to be enforcing the seatbelt dates more this year. He gave people some slack last year, but we really don't want to turn people away, but we've got to get today trying to seatbelts and so forth. And we know it's silly. But the rules are the rules. We have to do. Unfinished projects is the last year for Mopar 3 on the tree was 78. I figured that much, but I figured that was trucks because Ford had it all the way through 1986 in pickups. Something's racing my fastback on a quarter-mile track next Sunday, and I'm nervous about it. No, don't be nervous. Just run it. Rabbit Transit says, what about stock belts? If you're within the ET for stock belts, that's fine, as long as they're in good shape. They can't be frayed out and ruined. Considering how much some people wear their seat belts, are usually in fine shape. Yes, Kim, if you spend the money to get going that fast, you should be able to find some cash for belts and a helmet. I totally agree. It's amazing the guys that think nothing about dropping $600 for a set of rear tires and then say, oh man, I can't do that for that helmet. No, your factory lap belt is fine, but depends on your ET. New Guy's Garage. If we need a clarification from Deke, we'll get it. So Joe is saying, I got my Snell 2020 helmet with Bluetooth from Amazon for $229. They have less expensive ones there. Most people will be fine with DOT helmets like Mr. Amy. Mr. Amy will not be able to use a DOT helmet, but if you're running 764 or 765 or slower, you can run a DOT or a Snell 2015. But if you're running 764 or quicker, you must have a Snell 2015 or newer. 79 Nova, Omega, and Phoenix were the final 3 on the tree cars sold new in the USA, according to Unfinished Project. Sounds about right. But the Ford pickup, I know, had it through 86. I knew someone who had one. But then when they went to the, that rounded front end Ford truck in 87, it was no longer available. Something Garage is not that fast, but I'm getting a Snell and belts. Good for you. Good for you. Andrew Nelson can vouch for the value of having more safety equipment than you're mandated to have. Never apologize for having more safety equipment than you're required to have. Well, Kim, you do look at the rules. Make sure you have what you need. I don't think everybody was completely squared away. The dead man switch, the helmet. Looks like Captain Dew sneaked in here somewhere. Craigslist ad for my truck called it a 3 on a tree. I got to tell you, I've seen some hilarious typos back in the days, the old print trade papers on stick shift. So I've seen some good ones. Something Garage is all works construction is all about safety. I get it. Set a good example for your crew. PJ's Rusted and Busted Garages, do you have to have seat belts? My 56 is factory without them. Yes, you must have belts to get on the track. If you want to retrofit some belts properly and have them so you can compete and take them out, you can do that. Captain Dew wants to know if the truck 318 and car 318 have the same cylinder heads or different heads. They had the same heads. The motorhomes and the industrial stuff had some different heads. But the pickup trucks, yeah. Yeah, PJ, put some good belts in it. Because remember, no matter how careful you are, no matter what your car does, no matter how slow your car might be, you can be running a much faster car and get hit by it. You need to have the right safety equipment. The AHRA rulebook is at ahraonline.com. Danny Boyd says a guy with a 69 Buick Special that put a 4-speed in his 3 on the tree and had a lever through the floor for reverse. Well, that's clever. Clever. I would never have such a thing, but it's clever. I could see Dakota being about that. Dakota, how's the spark plug video going? Tick, 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 man. Tick, tick, tick. Johnny Ringo. The whole seatbelt deal is just nonsense. My 65 didn't come with seatbelts, so I spent many hours getting them to work correctly. To tell someone to retrofit some belts is easier. Yeah. Yeah. Well, retrofitting belts is easier. And safer, really, if done right. Yeah, you can go to the registration site. There's a link to the rule book there, or ahraonline.com is the AHRA rule book. Right there. If one of the mods would please post a link to ahraonline.com or the rule book link direct. You can click on it on the page. And let's not forget, too, in addition to the rule book there, if you're an AHRA member, you get a discount at competition products between 5 and 25%. It's very significant. And contrary to a misinformation campaign that's happened in the last few weeks, there is no monthly fee for an AHRA membership. You pay an annual membership fee, and that's it. So I don't know where that came from, but you pay an annual membership fee to AHRA, and that will get you in the Racers Rep program. You'll get a 5 to 25% discount, depending on part, competition products, and your own Racer Rep. Our own Lukey B, Luke Bann of Howard's Cams, is your Racer Rep. A lot of value in that. Captain Do, American cars sold on or after January 1st, 1968 were required to have lap belts. On or after January 1st, 1963 were required to have lap belts, shoulder belts beginning 68, and headrests beginning in 68, although most cars had them earlier. Yeah, Joe did a video on passing tech. There are tech passing videos out there. Yep. If you have a specific question, please feel free to email and ask. As we get a little closer to time, I'm going to guess around 90 days out, we'll have Deke on again for another Tech Live. Hopefully, when we're 90 days out, you guys won't be thinking about things like getting your subscribers and getting your cars built as much. And we're putting finishing touches on, and we can talk about things like making sure the belts are squared away and all these small things. Dizzy Izzy says backup lights mandated June of 65. I don't know, maybe something close to that. Indirect connection. Have a good evening, sir. Well, Danny Boyd, there are some cars that had them earlier. I mean, I know a 68 Dart had them. So 67s had them in the bumper. They were making their way into being integrated in the late 60s. Just depends on the car, I guess. Captain Deuce's shoulder belts were for fat people who couldn't wear lap belts. Let me tell you, I don't know many people, huge people, who do wear a seatbelt. I got some friends who are huge and they don't wear a seatbelt. I guess they just take tickets all the time and don't care. I know one of them who does. The Dougster hath remained unscathed. Good. So, 38 POS Racing. That we have talked about this before with Deke. If you would send us a picture, and I can get Deke to elaborate on how those should be mounted. Again, remember, you can take them out if you don't want to leave them in, but at this event, you need to have them. Well, Captain Do, I can tell you the shoulder belt is a lifesaver. Really, you should have 2 shoulder belts in your street cars. You ever watch what happens to a person in a wreck on slow motion with the single shoulder belt? The dual shoulder belt would be a huge improvement. But who's going to put on a harness when they get in their car? I haven't started yet, but I'm going to reinforce the floor. Yeah, you know what? If you don't mind, I have your email. If you don't mind, take a picture of what you're working on so I can send that to Deke. We'll make sure that you know what you need. I just want to kind of be real proactive and help. I know you're working on a 59 Chevy, so. Doug Narden says, seatbelt saved my life in a rollover with a 91 Bonneville. The roof was squashed. You don't have to convince Doug of the value of a seatbelt. Lap belts did not become a 3-way belt till 73. Oh, no, much earlier than that. In fact, shoulder belts were mandated in 68, and most cars had them before then. A. Cove said the Nelson showed exactly why safety equipment is needed before it's needed. Yeah, precisely. We had as real life an example as you could possibly get in February. Anybody who just looks past that and thinks, it doesn't matter to me, think again. Busted Radio Garage, how you doing? Kid, we haven't really talked about it. I mean, everything's great with Buzz. We just haven't talked about it. What year did the seatbelt buckle no start system happen for Chrysler? 78? I don't know. The van I have is an 85 and it doesn't have it. So I'm pretty sure it's not 78. Captain Doom had shoulder and lap all together at once. I don't know. The worst were the cars that had the little track. You would close the door and then a little electric motor would run the seatbelt up on your shoulder like that. Oh, those were awful. Kim fixes things. Is there an easy way to see all the people in the race to 500 this year? My main YouTube page, youtube.com/John Wilburn. It has everybody there in order of subs, and down below it has all the alumni. Camp Del Buffo says, my AMC had no start interlock in 1974. Glad you're here, Buff. AMC being ahead of its time with a bad idea. I like Buff's little avatar there. Just really works for him. Looks just like him. I like it. Buff isn't there. He's here. I see Buff's. All I know is Buff's not here, so he's somewhere. Electric seat. Captain Do says electric seatbelt can kill you when you close the door on you a plus size person. Okay, I'm taking your word for all that. I mean, I'm no flyweight, but there's all kinds of plus size style lifestyle I don't want to know anything about. Got a guy who does work for me. He's got some 600-pound family members, literally, like my 600-pound life size people. And he has told me stories about the way their lifestyle changes to accommodate that. Just stuff you cannot unhear. Buff Del Campo says Kim's on her laptop. I'm on mine. Buff, I first read that you were on Kim's laptop, thinking, Buff, you're sitting on Kim's lap. What? No, now I'm reading your comment right. Danny Boyd hated the electric seat belts, the Tempo and Topaz. Man, there wasn't a whole lot that got good reviews on those cars. The seat belts, I'm sure, is no exception. Turbo Tom, I've been wondering that. Your picture is you from 1969. Okay, because I've seen that picture. Oh, yeah, JC's been smacked by the automatic seat belts. Yeah, man, I can't stand those things. That's the worst idea. Somebody asked me how my car is coming along. Ha ha, busted radio. My stuff waits. I have this to do. I've got a house that's got to get done. I've got 4 lawns I'm responsible for. When all that gets under control, that's when car projects can start coming back online. But that is what's taking my time right now. And I am completely committed to delivering you guys the best possible no name nationals. So to me, that's paramount. And only if all that is in hand do I consider anything to do with my own projects. But right now, not to be. That said, tomorrow I do plan to do some work on the van. Maybe I'll make a little van content. I don't know. Yeah, Doug Nartens is the Hastings tough guy. I actually recognize that. The old Hastings Piston Rings character. Yes. Busted Radial says, I seen where you have the 904 looked at. So, Busted Radial, I took a 999 core that I had um, up to John Cope's place, and we built that 999. It's a cool piece, full race piece. Has a Cope billet reverse manual valve body with a trans brake. And I'm going to be doing an 8-inch torque converter with Mike Iben, the torque converter whisperer. There is, look at that. Look at that. And Mike Iben appears. As soon as you mention the 904, Mike Iben appears. He's waiting for my torque converter kit to come in. How cool was that? We mentioned his name and he appears. Mike Iben there is the torque converter whisperer. He works for Top Line Converter in the Pittsburgh area, and he is the man. He built the torque converter that won the bracket at the No Name Nationals, built the torque converter for Dodge Whisperer, Bigfoots and Mopars. He's doing a torque converter for Stephen Phillips Duster, and he'll be doing one for my Dart Sport. So very exciting stuff. Dizzy, you know what? I know I have your sticker. So here's the thing. I take this board has to be physically taken apart from the wall. See, that way you can't knock it off, right? And when I take it apart, I'm going to put yours on. I got a few others that need to go on there. I do have your sticker, Dizzy. Wow, new guys, you weighed your Mustang at 3220. That's a little lighter than I thought it would be, yeah. Mike Iben, you should take that one. Dakota wants to know if a fella could grind down the welds on a stock converter and take it apart and soup it up for more stall speed. Dakota, that is out of my pay grade. That is what people like Mike Iben are experts on. Colleen Tebow, when are you going to have Mike on a live? Well, the plan is, as Mike and I have discussed, I'm going to go up there to Top Line Converter and we're going to cover the building of a custom 8-inch race converter live. So we are planning to do that. Stevens 904 converter shipped yesterday. So if you want to follow that, Phillips Run Drip and Bubble, the guy who paid an amount that nearly gave him a stroke for a 70 Duster round track car. We tease Steven about that, but it's a cool car. His converter went out yesterday, so you'll be following it over there. I'll tell you what, Joe ran 722 all day with that converter. And Joe does his part, but he's got to have good equipment to do it. And hey, Ivan delivers. His stuff works good. PJ's Rusted and Busted Garage is out. Thanks for helping me hit 500. This community's awesome, man. What can I say? Mike Iben says you need to weld it back together straight. Danny Boyd wants to see a torque converter go together. Yes, that is the plan. We're going to do video and do a live. I'm very excited to do that. That's going to be great. It's one of those things with cars that it's one of these just magic things. A transmission is like this, but a torque converter is even more so. It's one of those parts nobody can see. It's crucial to how your car runs. And it's kind of a black magic thing that people don't think about. Like you can't see inside of it, right? There's nothing serviceable about it unless you can cut it apart on a lathe, right? And so a lot of people they don't develop any interest in how they work. And so that's what's going to be so cool about exploring this with our resident torque converter expert, Mike. So Captain Do has a non-Mopar question. He wants to know what a GM radial tune suspension. I Google it up and mix it with other search on Holden's cars. I don't even know what you're asking, my man. But if somebody does, hook old Captain Do up. Captain Do, what is that in your thumbnail there? And what does that name Captain Do? Because all I can think of is Mountain Dew when I see that name. Oh, wow. So Mike Iben's going to take apart one of those switch pitch, variable pitch stator Buicks to show how it works. How cool. Dallas did a video on the switch pitch in his Suburban, putting it in and showing how it works on the switch, which was a really cool video. Mr. Rodder's Neighborhood. Check it out if you haven't seen it. That's how it works. We're actually going to get to see the guts of one with Iben. That is going to be fun. So, Mike, just let me know when you have stuff. I'll schedule working out, getting up there. We'll put it on the calendar and make it happen. It's exciting. No rush. We know. But again, we're into putting days on things. Dakota says 74 was the first year for Trans Am. Okay, cool. I didn't know that. Yours is 74, isn't it? Dakota says first year for radial tune suspension, possibly 73. No idea. Dakota, you're a 2004 model yourself? Pretty good to go back in time like that. Danny Boyd remembers when radials came out or became popular. Yeah, well, that would be, they would have come out a little before the 70s, but my first name is Captain and Do is half my middle name. I OG changed my first name at my local church in '09. My first name used to be Michael, as in Michael. Oh, yeah, I remember that. You legally changed your name from Michael to Captain? Tell me, if you really do that? It's pretty boss. Yes, A Cove. Dallas's channel often covers oddities. Yes. Stators on back order end of April. Okay, cool. Cool. No rush. No rush. I'm patient. I'm patient. But with patience, patience can be a bad vice if it turns into procrastination, meaning one of these days. So to me, Mike could tell me April, May, June, July, August, any of those would be fine. But they're real numbers, no matter what they are, and that's what keeps things moving. See, that's again goes back to this. So it's just got to be somebody to keep the orange paper, right? No, good things take time. All of my church folks call me captain ever since. I that bet that would be an incredible congregation to me. Dakota's timeout says my dad has some very old bias ply on his 72 F-250, probably from the 70s. Yeah, I bet. Ride bumpy when they're cold. Hello, Johnny C. They probably do better than most tires you buy. I tell you, some of the tires you buy, I mean, a lot of these Chinese tires are just really. Doug Norden had a set of Coker tires, looked like pie crust bias plies, but were radials. Yeah, Coker has a lot of that stuff. Dakota just bought some new Mastercraft tires for the Trans Am. Thought I was going to have to sell one of my organs to pay for them. Man, isn't that the truth? I look at the tires people throw away, just blows my mind. I cannot remember the last time I bought a new tire. And that was buying them off eBay. I've had good luck with Tire Rack, having them delivered because I mount my own stuff. Works out. I've been doing my own tires manually for gosh, I don't know how long. Bought them a few months ago, checked last night, and they went up on the price again. Tire prices on everything's out of control. We have a chance to go a long way toward fixing that here next year. I hope we do it. I need to find me some 28 1050 drag radials. The big L60 Indy profiles are slippery. Okay. And places won't sell used tires no matter how good they look. Oh, yes, some places will. Tire place here in Roanoke will. I get them there all the time. Guaranteed used tires. Shout out to those guys on Orange Avenue in Roanoke, Virginia. If you remember the Honda on my community page that had the wheel that was twice as wide as the tire, that's where that was taken. Mohawk had over 5,000 views on his new tire short. Well, good for you, man. Is that where those subs came from? That little boost you got? That was good. Dakota says his BF Goodrich is on the Camaro are almost 10 years old. Turbo Tom says we give away our old tires. I used to buy tires to junkyard. Why not? Because the car didn't go to the junkyard for the tires. Rabbit Transit. I got all used tires for the Dart 3 days before No Name Nationals last year. Yeah, man. Rock on. Dust Devil is pointing out that our 275 6015 is equivalent to a 28 1050. That is correct. And we can accept either in the 28 10.5 class. Unfinished Project says feeder cattle prices are at record highs. In 5 months, you'll be shocked at what beef cost. Most won't be able to afford it, but don't worry, the alternatives are in place. I think the alternatives have already been here. We've been paying for beef that wasn't beef for years, I fear. Doug Narden, depends on what kind of life you get out of tires. Man, if I had something getting 100,000 miles out of a set of tires, that's exactly what I'd do. Raining Slant 6 with a chance of cannonball says, I remember when I had bi-ply tires on older 67 to 69 Mopar A bodies designed for bis. They seem to be easier to drive on the edge and will give up lateral traction more predictably than radials. Okay, that's a very esoteric reply. Cool. New Guys Garages, I'm shocked at what beef costs now. Everything is ridiculous. Mopar Den, how's it going? Glad you're here, man. See, Wendy, see you hanging in here. Yeah, Mopar Den comes into the chat. Dizzy Izzy is saying run your tires full pressure. If you run them low, they'll tire hop. Could be. I'm not sure on those. Doug Narden says my friend switched to semi-truck wheels on his diesel pickup because those tires go 100,000 plus. Oh, yeah. But see, then the thing is, look how much you lose and all that weight you're dragging in your mileage. That's your trade-off. Probably not coming out nearly as well. And the tires cost a lot more. My son told me about a cattle ranch that had an insane amount of cattle that was blown up in Texas. Oh, that's wild. Speaking of blown up in fire, there's a junkyard near the town where I'm from. 150 cars burned in a fire at a junkyard. His junkyard is all wooded over and it's hanging over the side of a mountain. And Anyway, something caught fire out there. And I mean, there must have been a half a dozen jurisdictions or more fire departments responded. And it just, it burned 150 cars plus. First responder garage also noticed that the tires rotate slower, which is true. Uh, between how little they drive it and it takes 161 revolutions just to make a mile, the 10-foot tires on Bigfoot 5 are 80 years old. They're the original tires. I've seen those tires. They only have 4 of them now. They had 8. They sold 4. There are now, Bigfoot 5 still has the 4 original tires. So every picture you've ever seen of that truck, all the way back into the 80s, those are the same tires it has now. And they're Terra tires, Goodyear Terra tires, 120-inch tall. Mike Ibbins says, worked on a Chevette converter today. Those were the original core for 8-inch racers. I don't doubt that a bit. Chevette, that is cool. Super cool. Mopar Den said, attended the first cruise of the season yesterday evening. Nice to get the old cars out and driving again. Yeah. You know, that we've had that kind of weather. You know, I got to tell you, this year is the first year I can think of here. We got no snow. I think I remember one morning seeing a little bit of white, like it was almost like a thick frost. It actually wasn't any real snow. I mean, you walked outside in the morning like daylight and it was gone. We didn't have actually any snow here. Plows never ran. This is the first year I can remember where you could just run your classic 12 months out of the year here. Dakota's asking a question. Stock Chevette converters don't handle much power right. What is it on them that wears out or breaks? Doug Narden said there used to be an 80-acre farm near where I lived. It was 75% full of used tires, mountains of them. And periodically the tires would catch fire. The EPA cleaned them up. Well, that guy was in it for the money because you could get money. I got to tell you, there was a scam I read about not long ago where these people would rent storage units. They would get all these tires, these trash tires, because the disposal fees gotten high on them. They would get as many of these trash tires as they could. I'm sure they were getting paid for them. They would rent a storage locker for 1 month, shove as many tires as they could get in there, fake name, lock it up, leave. So if they got $1,000 worth of trash tires, they paid $100 for a month's rent and just left it. They got $900 to the good. I've seen that happen. And I have a storage locker with tires in it, but I don't have that going on. I mean, it's pretty obvious. That's, you know, I got a few sets of slicks and I got some new old stock Eagle STs in there. Glad I have those. I'll never get another set. Yeah, Dakota, they watch for that stuff. Don't think they don't know that. It's dirty. Mike Evans says, need to weld up the fins. The cover is best to be replaced with billet. The stator must be replaced with a quality Sprague diode. There you go. Raining slant 6 with a chance in cannonballs is if you shield the tires from sunlight to last a longer time. I don't remember if it's UVA or UVB. I don't either. I can't ever remember which it is. We got a bunch of smart people in here. I'm sure someone will tell us. Rapid Transit Garage's Eagle STs are a good looking tire. Yes, you just can't get them anymore. Mike Ivins says also needs anti-balloon plates. We will talk about all of that when we do torque converter tech. I'm really looking forward to that. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I've never been to Pittsburgh. The only place I've been to in Pennsylvania is Carlisle. And then we went to Gettysburg on the way back from Carlisle one year. That's it. It's all I've ever been to in Pennsylvania. Oh, and I gave some, it's a whole other story. I gave some people a ride to wherever the Sheets is near Harrisburg. Another story for another life. Doug Narden says the one storage unit near me looks like a TV studio where there's so many cameras, people trying to live in units. Yeah, you know, they're all different. Like there's a storage locker place near me that a lot of people rent shops and they work on their cars and stuff there. There's a lot of dirt track teams have their cars in there and work on them. I used to know one of them. And then there's some of them that's strictly prohibited. And then there's some that just, you know, they all depends on what the owner will do, what they'll allow. Mike Ivins says stock TH350 converters are strong. Good to know. I don't know nearly as much about torque converters as I should. Does Nothing Special is here and says, hey, everybody. Howdy does nothing special. Danny Boyd says, I want one of them shops. Well, you can rent one. Mopar Den ran Dunlap GT qualifiers and would wear them out quickly. Yeah, hard to find that balance. Dakota's got a TH350 stock regular converter behind the 455 in his Trans Am. Cool, man. Well, Danny Boyd, you say around here. I'd love to find the right building around here, but you can't. Yeah, go rent one where Dakota is. Dakota's in Northwest Georgia. You're in Ohio. That's plenty close enough. You make it there in a day. You make it there in a day. You work, you sleep in there, and you head back. See? Mike Evans says a flanged hub is strong. Then add a beveled washer if there's room. Cool. And then you can stop by and see Dakota and his junk cars, right? And if you're there and make a video with him, I can time him out live in the middle of your video. If I live long enough, I might still be timing Dakota out when he's 50. Unfinished Project says Dart Sport. That means we're right at the 2-hour mark. Well, cool, guys. You know what? Just hanging out tonight. We got some cool stuff in the hopper, and you'll be seeing it come down, coming soon. The government does anti-balloons too. Okay. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you. Thanks for hanging out. We got more updates. The only thing I'll reiterate is one thing we had from another live is because I'm seeing so many people who still have their car numbers on their car from the inaugural No Name Nationals. I'm floored by how many people still have their numbers on their cars. In fact, Austin at Lucor was not at Lucor when somebody stopped by, but they snapped a picture of his Buick in the parking lot. It still has it on it. I sincerely think there are more people who still have their car number on than not. So do know that if you're registered by Labor Day, you can renew your number from 2022. So just know that. I want that to get out there before people take numbers off just for not knowing. So anyway, I'm just putting that out there, and anything else we need to do, we'll do on a live a little bit later on. But for now, I want to thank the mods. Thank you all for being here. I'll be live again next Friday and look forward to seeing you then. Thank you, guys. Kim has hers on her van and monkey bike. Right on. Kim had, I think, was it 99 on the monkey bike or whatever? So anyway, that's cool. All right. We'll see y'all later. Thank you.